4 tips that will immediately stop your neighbors from complaining about your vacation rental guests. In fact, they won't even know they're there. So give me the next 3 minutes and I'm going to walk you through 4 tips that will keep your rental property quiet and discreet. By doing these 4 things, you can stop stressing over your neighborhood complaints. My name is Chris and I've kept multiple rentals completely sold out for over a decade. My secret is the direct bookings and I'm going to share it with you right now. In every single episode, you're going to get something you can immediately implement to help grow your short-term rental business. So give me the next 3 minutes and I'm going to tell you 4 tips that will help keep the peace with your vacation rental neighbors. If you've ever had to deal with angry calls from your neighbors, then you know it can be very stressful. No one likes hearing complaints about your vacation rental. A lot of people hate living next door to a short-term rental property because they can be loud and disrespectful to the community. So I figured out 4 super simple tips that have helped me keep the peace within my neighbors over the last decade. Tip number 1, create house rules. Noise is the number 1 complaint from rental neighbors. To help stop the complaints, you have to develop house guidelines and rules. Determine a quiet hour that is appropriate for your place. I made my quiet time at 9 p.m. and I ensured guests they knew it was a strict rule. When I picked the right guests to stay at my place, they never had any issues with my quiet time and always followed my house rules. The real trick here is to send an agreement document for them to sign and have a verbal discussion. Explain why you're sending this document and ensure you get verbal agreement first. After they agree and sign, send a reminder email closer to their stay with the house rules I list. Setting clear expectations from start makes a huge difference. Tip number 2, confirm the number of guests and their age. With big groups come big noise. Make sure you aren't overcrowding your rental and allowing more guests than your space is capacity. Even if your couch is somewhere that an extra guest could sleep on, it's not worth the noise complaint. When dealing with guest age, keep in mind what kind of renter you want at your place. If you do decide to rent to bigger groups or college students, make sure you get a security deposit. Security deposits will help your guests treat your place with more respect and care. The deposit means that the damage that they cause is on their dime and not yours. Tip number 3, include clear parking instructions. Another big complaint by neighbors come from guests parking in their spot or taking up too many parking spaces. It's important to be clear on how many vehicles your guests can have at the rental and exactly where they need to park. You can avoid many angry calls if you take care of this in one simple step. Tip number 4, get off Airbnb and Vrbo. When people look through Airbnb and VRBO, people feel entitled. These guests often do what they want and can be hard to deal with. I had a lot of issues with guests from Vrbo and it was hard to get contact information from them and they were always breaking my house rules. When I started booking guests direct, I got a whole new caliber of guests. People who booked directly, personally vetted by me and had their contact information handed to me. These kind of guests are easier to communicate with and respect my house way more. The difference between most Airbnb guests versus direct booking guests is crazy. You don't have to deal with as much crap if your guests book direct. Trust me, I've been there and I've had bad guests and they're just not worth the headache. It's better to be in control of your property, which ultimately means you need to book your own guests. If you want to learn more about keeping your rental neighbors happy, type guide below and I will send you the Happy Rental Neighborhood Guide just for watching this video. Deal?